think we got a bald eagle up here, guys. Where'd he go? Oh, he's over there. Oh, you'll never see him with this lens. Oh shit, there's 2 or 3. There's 4. There's 4.
Holy shit, I see him.
Oh my god. I don't know if you guys can see that.
They're way up there.
They're way up there. Can you see that? Oh my gosh, that's cool. Welcome to our homestead.
Yeah. So we've traveled quite a few miles, visited quite a few places, and we ended up settling on this place right here. Yep. We have about 4 acres. It's positioned on a south-facing slope, so we've got a nice east to west sun movement there, which is really cool because that means we'll be able to take advantage of having the solar panels up in the sky and be able to have the sun warm the greenhouse and everything like that.
Yeah, a lot of you are probably wondering, you built the bus, why aren't you traveling? And why did you just build the bus, not even finish the bus, and then decide to settle on a property?
Well, hopefully this video will answer a lot of those questions because there's a lot of questions in people's minds.
Ours too.
Yeah, ours too, for sure. And if you're not questioning, you should be.
You should be.
At least we are.
Yeah.
Let's find a little shady spot.
So with everything going on in the world, our top priorities in our lives have definitely shifted. We've realized that growing food, raising animals, and living more self-reliant is definitely the way to go for us in this moment in time. We figured with the bus, we will always have a traveling home on wheels so we could ride out the storm, and then in the future, we will always have something that we can travel with.
Yeah, originally back in September of 2019 when we bought the Skoolie, our idea was to travel around and shoot little mini documentaries about homesteaders living self-reliant lives, being off-grid. How do they produce energy for their electrical needs? How do they gather water? And all these questions about how are they doing the off-grid living thing, because that has totally been something that I have been interested in all my life. Ever since I was a little kid, I was always looking up information on how to survive, how to start little fires with like flint and steel. And I learned those little skills as I was growing up, learning to tie knots and like really cool shelter, like bushcraft stuff.
So something that Brian and I learned when we were traveling for 3 years was that just immersing ourselves in a situation was the hands-on learning that we needed, whether it was speaking Spanish or just like thinking on our feet. And the whole idea that we had to go around and film homesteaders was, for us, it was a big research project that we wanted to share with you guys. But with all this stuff happening, we were just like, you know what? We need to just immerse ourselves in and trust that we are going to attract people who are doing what we're doing. And we already are, which is really cool. Some of our neighbors are homesteading. We found that in the Missouri Ozarks, there's a lot of people like us who are doing the same thing. So this is important for us because we want to surround ourselves with people like us and live amongst a community of people who have each other's backs and can share skills and talents that they have, so we can do more trading stuff and buying local foods and handicrafts.
Yeah, that being said, we've got a lot of opportunities to go and meet with local homesteaders and share their stories. So hopefully we're able to mix some of their stories and their experiences with homesteading and animal husbandry and growing vegetables and off-grid living with you throughout our channel as we go. But to get started, we're gonna start putting the shovel in the ground and start clearing a spot to have a little shop so that we can have some tools and do whatever building that we need for the greenhouse, along with building the rainwater catchment. We've already been calculating for how much water we could potentially harvest straight from the sky into some either IBC totes or maybe a cistern. We haven't bought any of those yet, so we still have to figure out the logistics of all of that. But we've been really digging in.
This could be kind of comedic for you guys. We don't know what we're doing completely.
Not completely.
But both of us are really willing and eager to learn, which is essential for doing anything big and risky in life.
So we're just getting started on this. As you can see, it's beautiful out here. I think the coldest it gets around this area is -5 Celsius.
That's the average.
That's the average cold.
Yeah.
And then we get in this area about 12 inches of snow a year. So we'll see how this winter goes. Our elevation here on the property is about 1,147 feet, which is a great altitude to be at for growing, along with we're situated in the Ozarks. It's a good latitude, so there's a not too long winter, and that was something that was important to us so that we're able to grow even during the winter in the greenhouse, and then also be able to have more growing time outdoors during normal growing season. All right, so right off of the clearing, the bus right there in the background is faced east over here and west over there. And then we're walking straight south. So behind us is north. And
we've got a south-facing slope. So right now we're going down a really gentle slope.
It's really gentle.
Super gentle.
Super gentle.
Let's try not to get a branch in the face.
The majority of our property is 100% wooded. The property was logged about 15 years ago, but there's a lot of saplings growing up, and then there's a few trees that need to come down because they're dead standing, or they look like they were broken in a storm maybe. Like that tree right there needs to come. That'd be great firewood.
Yep.
So that one, because it doesn't even have a top on it. But the canopy here is just beautiful.
Something else that we want to do is little ponds. Is that thorn one?
Yeah, that one's a blackberry probably.
We've got wild blackberries.
Oh, shh. Sorry.
I should wear my gloves. We've got wild blackberries all throughout the forest. Which is super cool. We were like, what are these thorny things? They kind of look like raspberry bushes, but they are in fact big juicy wild berries. So something that we wanted to do, I was gonna say, with our overflow water from the back of the shed is angle it down these hills, and then we've got some natural little areas where we could build ponds. So we can collect water, and then once we get animals in here, whether it's pigs or sheep or goats or chickens or whatever, we'll be able to have little ponds where they can come and drink from.
Oh yeah.
And it's really good for irrigation and water soaking into the land. Oh, and something really cool, there's wild mushrooms everywhere. We know nothing about what we can eat and can't eat yet, but this is something that we want to learn. Look at these. Holy smokes! What are those? If you guys know what these are, and whether we can eat them, let us know. Those are cool.
Those are really cool.
Shoot, we should look those up.
Looks like someone's been nibbling on that.
I don't know if you should touch them.
I just won't lick my fingers.
Okay. There's a lot of different kinds everywhere.
So something interesting about mushrooms is that we've heard a lot of people talk about going to forage for mushrooms and like, oh, let's see what we could find. And I've heard that if you know what kind of environment mushrooms live in, then you're more likely to find what you're looking for and knowing exactly what is going to grow there, because different mushrooms grow in different types of environments, be it decaying wood on the ground, in leaf beds, or even on growing trees.
And very specific trees. Some of them favor different types of trees. So like some mushrooms want to grow on birch trees. So then you would look for birch trees and you're really likely to find very specific types of mushrooms on those trees. I don't know what they are though. That's a different kind. Oh, there's another one in that leaves. Those leaves.
Something else that we're super excited to learn about is what kind of trees are here on this property. I've heard that there's a lot of different species of oaks here, which are a little bit different than the oaks in Texas, which are like live oaks. They're shorter, more bushy. These oaks are super, super freaking tall. Like this one right here. Super tall, super straight. That would make great timber for a cabin, make great timber for building something, or even make great timber for just staying up in the tree.
Whoa, watch your face.
That one needed to come down because it was dead and hanging there.
We need to do some forest management. There are forest fires in this region. There was actually a forest fire at one of the other properties. I think some of them, they were burning on purpose.
Yeah, back in March, I think.
Yeah, but there's been another one, I think, since then that nobody knew how it started.
Yeah.
But supposedly the firefighters got out here really fast. Thank goodness Brian knows about that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But what we want to do is come in here and really clear up our understory.
Yep.
We obviously want to have like stuff fall and naturally decay because that will make the soil super rich. But we also don't want it to be too messy that if a fire blasted through, everything would light up.
Yeah, so doing wildland fire management is super important to us, and that'll also open up the opportunity for us to be able to walk through unobstructed in the property, because right now it's pretty dense and we're really thankful and grateful about that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of potential here for making clearings for growing food plots, and then infusing this whole area using permaculture and seeing what grows well with different plants.
Yeah. And this would be amazing for animals to live in here. Like how cool would it be to have some pigs or goats, and then we could cycle them around and rotate them through the property so we can utilize their manure but also utilize their foraging so they can eat stuff that that will clear up the understory for us. So it's very exciting.
Some other trees that we found on the property are these massive pines. These ones here, they're not too big right now. They're probably maybe like 6 inches or so, but they go up easily about 60 feet right here. Like that is absolutely massive. They're pretty straight, so that would make some good lumber also. Or it could just make a nice tree for a nice canopy, because right now that's what it's doing.
Ideally we don't cut everything down.
Yeah. We're not going to clear cut this thing.
Oh no. Look at those leaves. Those are cool. I wonder what those pointy guys are.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea. It's
Look at this,
so
this
cool.
little guy.
I think that's a little cedar.
It smells so nice.
Oh, that's great. Nature's perfume.
Yeah.
So this all kind of slopes down through here. Down at the bottom, there's, I think, maybe a sometimes creek. We're not totally sure what's down there. Well, we know what's down there, but we don't know what it's going to turn into.
Yeah. This is where it dips down right over here to the sometimes creek. The way that the forest sounds out here, we're in the middle of the country. Like, we're not really close to any big civilization. It's quite a car drive away. And that's what we really wanted. We wanted a little bit of peace and quiet, and so that we can get it away from it all. However, we still have cell phone reception out here, which is good because that means we could still upload videos for YouTube and do our websites that we build and Google Ads management and stuff like that. But I'm so happy to be out here and start getting our hands dirty in the soil and building more stuff. How funny is it that we've been building this bus for over 2 years, about 23 months or so? Still not done. We still have a little bit more to do. But now we're on a property and it's like, yeah, let's build more stuff.
All right, down here is this Sometimes Creek, I think. I think down in this groove here. So our property goes down and then it scoops back up again.
There's berries down here.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what kind they are.
Oh, there's ferns, babe.
So this road here, well, this area here appears to be an old logging road. It's got a gravel base on it, but nature's already started taking over.
Oh, look at this cool fossil-y looking thing. Looks like it just had embedded rocks or something.
Those are probably leaves embedded, maybe. Who knows? Throughout the property, there's timbers and trees that have fallen. A lot of them are pretty rotted out. Some of them are good. But that's some of the stuff that we're gonna clean up over time. Not all in one day.
Probably not all in 1 month either.
To give you perspective, there's my hand.
Those are huge. Dang, we need to know what these are.
It looks like maybe a hoof or something, maybe a deer. Yeah, look at that print there.
Whoa, I don't think that looks like a hoof.
No, it doesn't. It looks like a paw.
Might be someone's dog, hopefully. It could also be coyotes. And supposedly there's mountain lions out here and bobcats.
Which is pretty wild.
That's pretty crazy. Look at that.
Cool.
That's cool.
Nice find. It also looks like flint.
Do you think that's flint? Maybe?
See how
I don't know.
sharp that is?
Oh yeah.
That's probably flint.
Cool.
I should get out my my steel. I've got like a flint and steel thing.
Oh, and see if you can
and
spark
then
it.
we could spark it. Bring it with you. So I don't know if you can see all the way up the hill over there, but right up there, there's a corner. That's our southwest corner. And then coming around here, this is just another post in line for our property. This right here is the creek wash. That is the Sometimes Creek. It goes along this route right here.
Ooh, these guys right here, we found out are called mullein, and they're used for a lot of herbal remedies. What I've heard that they're good for, don't quote me, is lung issues and ointments, and supposedly you can also make tea out of it. Now, we're not going to do any of that until we know enough about it, but I am going to dig up some of these that are around the perimeter of the property and bring them into the center of the property, kind of in our hangout zone, just because having remedies like that would be very handy.
It smells like someone's got a fire going out here somewhere.
Oh, we need to get a fire going today.
It's pretty windy. There we go. This is what they're signifying corners of the property with here in this area. And further up, there's actually a surveyor stake up at another one over here, which is pretty cool. That's like a super official, documented. Our piece of land is documented via GPS. So we've got all the coordinates for that. We've mapped it out and plotted it, and we've confirmed where all the corners are. So we walked it all. It's pretty cool.
They've made pathways between all the properties in this area, so it's actually pretty easy to identify what is yours and what is not. I also think that's kind of a nice like perimeter so not right away. You need to come in and put up fences everywhere. We may or may not put up a fence, but that's a lot of land to put a fence around, so we'll see. We might just put thorny bushes. It's not the same layers. I don't think.
We might be able to grab some of these logs that are decomposing like crazy and put them in the bottom of some raised mounds in the greenhouse because they're already pretty far decomposed. That'll add a lot of nutrients to the beds.
Watch out for that hole.
For hugelkultur. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is one of the paths that Erin was talking about, how they're kind of separated out and they're marked with these pink ribbons, surveyor tape. Look at that massive pine. That's easily about 60 feet tall. This might be another stream area.
Oh, yeah.